Hello and welcome to this issue of Counterpoint. The tourist season has started. The tourists are coming in. We have a new airport in Goa which is going to be fully functional and operational from the 5th of January. And in this whole ecosystem, we seem to have gone back to the recurring controversy or discussion that plagues Goa all the time. The issue here is that we have, as a state, and we're not blaming any particular section or anybody else, but our state and our system has failed to introduce a responsible and tourist-friendly taxi system, which has developed a killer blow to Goa tourism. When we say failure, we do not necessarily mean that the taxi lobby has failed. We are not even saying that any other lobby has failed. We as a state have collectively failed to address the concerns of all, so that we have a proper, robust, friendly system which benefits both the tourists as well as the locals. This problem or these skirmishes, these controversies, there are issues on both sides which has been going on for such a long time that there seems to be no resolution in sight. And I would say it will be unfair only to blame the taxi lobby, but though the taxi associations of both the black and white and the tourist taxis have a lot of questions to answer. We also need to understand their point of view, but at the same time, let us also accept one basic point, that there cannot be so many unhappy people if the system is right. There cannot be so many tourists who are unhappy if the system is right. The Goa is known as a place where there are absolutely no rules and regulations with regard to taxi fares, the system of operations and so on and so forth. There has been a lot of resentment, and we're not saying that resentment is wrong or right, because we have friends from the taxi associations who will tell us what the reasons for their objection is. We will get to that. But the point here is that we are a state in Goa which is probably the only state in the entire country and probably one of the few places in the world which calls itself an international tourist destination, which does not even have a taxi system which is regulated and which is based on the choice of the tourist or the commuter, rather than being hostage to the whims of controversies and the issues or the the degree of self-importance that is being displayed by the taxi association and the taxi lobby. This is a charge. This is not my charge or the organization's charge. This is a charge that people who use taxis feel. What I'm very, very happy about, and I must thank everybody else, including Mr. Naik, is that we need more occasions like this where we sit across the table and talk. We need to have conversations, not confrontations. Let us hear both sides. But ultimately, let everybody understand that we have to have a solution to this for the interests of Goa. Otherwise, if the golden goose is killed, then nobody benefits. The taxi people do not benefit, the tour operators do not benefit, the cruise operators do not benefit. And before I introduce our esteemed panel, I would also like to share what was the trigger for this discussion, though this discussion can happen any time till the issue is finally solved. The trigger was that last week we had a very ugly incident at the Murmuga Ports Authority, as it's now called, where tourists, about 80 odd tourists who were getting off the cruise to do a day excursion in Goa, they were stopped. They were not allowed to get onto their buses. Allegedly, one of the bus operators was hit, and the tourist taxi people said we were not informed. The whole thing blew up into a very ugly fracas, giving Goa a bad name. Then we had a situation where the Mopa airport is about to start, the Mopa airport operations are supposed to start, and there is no system yet as to who is going to be registered, who is going to operate from there. The app system is developed, but nobody has got onto the app. Taxi drivers have completely refused. So we are again in a situation where it is completely chaotic. Now, the point is, you have to get back to the system because the system runs the state. And if there's a failure, you have to get back to the system. Anyway, there's lots more to be discussed, on these points and much more. And I introduce my esteemed panel of very good professionals and stakeholders in the system. I start with Sanjeev Sardesai. He's a heritage promoter, hands-on historian, but somebody who's been in the tourism and travel ecosystem for an extremely long time to know what's really going on and what needs to be done. Welcome. Thank you. And next to him is Orlando Nunes. He's the GM operations of Trailblazers and Tours. Again, one of the very important stakeholders of the whole tourism, cruises business, which is so important to our system here. Lyndon Lavels is a very senior tourism professional, hardly needs any introduction, been around for a very, very long time, a veteran in this whole tourism, charter, events space. And of course, and he has been in several committees and boards and worked closely also with the government, and he'll obviously have a thing or two to add to this whole conversation. Next to him, and very welcome, Sunil Naik, ex-president of the Yellow and Black Taxi Association. He's right now a member of the association in the TV station.
Karmali.
Sorry, Karmali station. My apologies. Karmali station. So the point here is, okay, again, Sunil, a very warm welcome, and we are very glad that you've come in here, because we must appreciate the role played by the Yellow and Black taxis in Goa's thing for a long time, because while we have the tourist taxis there, the Yellow and Black taxis play a very, very important part, both taking tourists as well as locals, and their role here is also very important, and one would like to hear them as well on many of these issues. I'll start with Sanjeev. I have spoken a bit much. I have no further questions to ask you. If you can just start with you responding and touching a little bit about the recent incidents that have happened.
Well, like you said, Mr. Gupta, that Goa has got a name tag or identification tag that it's a destination for all types of tourists, domestic as well as international, I'll put it that way. But there is something that I must say and state over here, that I have been in this industry since 1981. Somewhere in 1995, the feeling that I got, which still continues with me today, is that there is no tourism in Goa. Now, this I say not because of any other reason, is because we didn't have a policy even after 40 years of our liberation. What snowballed as an industry to watch those tourists and coming here who are called as flower children or hippies, it has grown into a money-making industry for all of us. But I think over a period of time, this small type of skirmishes that are happening, and what happened at MPT is not new. I have had personally this same thing at the airport in the year 1987.
Right.
And I think what had to be nipped in the bud then by the administration, by the industry, and by logical talking with people, not by using force, it didn't happen. And we have not lost time, but I think if this type of incidents carry, then like you have rightly put it, we will be killing the golden goose, which lays the golden eggs.
Orlando, tell me, without getting into a blame game, let us ask you one straight question. That if we do not have a proper public transportation system, which includes taxis, can you carry out your business? And how is it suffering?
See, basically, taxis are a part of tourism as well.
100%, yes.
Everywhere in the world they are there.
Correct.
We have two sets of taxis, the yellow, black and the white taxis. They have mushroomed up a lot, but there's never been a system online. They are posted at every hotel gates, airports, and other tourism destinations. But what happens is, there is no system in place, like they don't have fixed rates. They're not printed rates at any of the outlets that they are handing on. And they cause nuisance to us, operators who bring the business into the state or the country. And we cannot freely give service to the tourists that we promise. Our obligation to them is to have conductor tours, guided tours, be it cruise liners or be it charters. And they obstruct, saying that, oh, these people come and stay in our hotels, you have no right to take them out. We have the right to take them out. This has been going on for long as he said that it's been on. I've been in the industry since '94, and it's going on. The government has not come with a certain policy, or even if they come with it, they don't follow. So somewhere down the line, there has to be either strict implementation or a law or a rule saying that follow the system, everybody benefits.
Lyndon, I'll get you in here. Lyndon, one, of course, you could respond to all of us. One thing I'd like to specifically ask you is that what is surprising is that this issue is dragging on for the last 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, where there has to be a colossal failure of the system to allow this to carry on for such a long time. My question to you, apart from whatever else you would like to respond to, is that how are we allowing the the failure to solve this for 12 years? Because no system can tolerate the failure to solve something as basic as this for 12 years if you call yourself a tourist destination.
Sujay, it's not 12 years. In 1992, I used to manage 3 or 4 flights a week from Scandinavia. I think Orlando was part of that whole movement.
Right.
And from that time, we've had this problem. So that's 1992, it's 30 years. We had a problem because we had Scandinavian tourists who needed guides. And they had to be in coaches because we couldn't put one guide per taxi because the guides came from abroad. The problem I see where it lies is, although the government as a whole wants a solution, within the government, they are divided. So there's no proper directionalization of the system. Today it's become such a big problem that, we are not looking at the consequential problems of the taxi problem. If you go up north or you go to Goa, look at the traffic problems. It's because people know Goa doesn't have affordable taxis, so they drive down, they don't know roads, they crowd our roads with traffic.
Correct.
They are hiring renter cars by the hundreds, renter bikes by the hundreds, driving after alcohol. You go for
and everybody is looking at Google Maps and moving.
Yes.
Yeah, you go for a birthday party and you're leaving at 11 o'clock after 4 drinks. Can you call a taxi? You can't. You have to drive your own car. So how do you find a solution without the government having a very well-focused, coordinated effort? Because if we look back at the past, every MLA has his own little bearings in the whole situation.
Right.
So there's been no joint solution to this. But if the government actually puts their heads together to this, I don't think there's a problem in solving it.
See, Sunil Bab, I'll come back to you later. See, my question to you is, there are two views, and we'll respectfully take your view also, it's very important. Is that ultimately in any tourism place, the taxi system, they are seen as partners, ambassadors, service providers. That is what they're expected to do and they're doing. In Goa, there seems to be the feeling amongst people who consume taxis or who you need taxis, I mean customers and guests and tourists. They feel that you all, rather than being service providers, this is the impression, I'm not making a charge,
Yes.
I just want your point of view, that rather than being service providers, it is all about your employment, which is not wrong. I mean, it is not wrong to expect employment, but ultimately your benefits, your employment, and the fact that it has to be either your way or the highway. Because of which, the feeling is that because of which, any effort that has been made to streamline the taxi system, like have fixed rates, have app-based taxis, that has not worked because you all have been adamant in doing it your way. Point number one. Point number two, also, the feeling is that because there are politicians who need their votes and vote banks, and you all are a very important part of the vote bank because you are local people, you are following among the communities, you can control votes. The thing is, politicians are also inclined to look at your way and not the way which is necessarily good for the whole of Goa. This is again the impression. This is not a charge. I'm not saying this is true, but I would like you to respond to this.
So see, first of all, I say that we have got a yellow black taxi counter at Karmali railway station.
Yes,
And
yes.
all the rates are fixed there.
Right.
The board is there.
Right.
The rates are written where you want to go.
Right.
All the rates according kilometer. we
And
have
you
got,
follow that completely.
Night charge is also written there. Day charge is also written there.
Right.
So everything board is there. So
Right.
customers come where you want to go. He sees. Alphabetically it is written. If you want to go to airport, 1060 rupees. We
Right.
charge 1060. He goes.
Right.
We have got a system there.
Right.
Whereas tourist vehicle, I don't know. I can't speak on the tourist vehicle.
Right.
Actually, we have got all the railway station, bus stand also we have got. All yellow black taxis are following this rule.
Right.
And the rates are given by government only.
Right.
So I rather think that government should bring all together, all the stakeholders and speak, which
Right.
is not coming only.
Right.
I think 4 or 5 times CM said that
Right.
he will call or he will call, but till date nobody has called us.
But tell me, as far as the rates are concerned, so y'all are saying at least in the yellow-black system, there is no issue at all.
No.
Every time you need a yellow-black taxi, you can go to the station. But my point is, suppose everybody is not at a station.
Yes, sir.
Okay, suppose I want to call a cab in from my village in say Kurturi, and I want a yellow and black taxi to come. I don't have the luxury to do that. My point is, I will get a yellow and black taxi from the station to my hotel or from the airport to my hotel. But my issue is that suppose I want a yellow black taxi from say Kalangud to Baga or Kalangud to Arambol. My point is, where will I get that service from?
No, you are while taking a taxi from the station, you take a counter number, sir. You call them, he will come and pick you up.
A counter number.
Yeah, we have got counter. Otherwise, the driver who drops you, he will give you the cell number.
No, but how many counters do you have across?
At Karmali station, we have got one. All the stations, we have got a counter.
No,
Even
suppose
bus stand also, we have
suppose
got
I'm
one.
staying in a hotel in say Asagaon.
Yeah,
Okay, and I want a taxi to take me from Asagaon to a restaurant in Morjim.
yeah.
Yellow black can't pick you.
Yeah,
Yellow
no.
black cannot pick
No,
you,
sir,
right?
because
Right.
we have got point-to-point services.
That's
Yes.
what
At
I'm saying.
Asagaon,
And the white
you will
tourist
get a
taxis don't
tourist
allow the
taxi
yellow
there.
black.
That's correct.
Which he will take
The
you.
white taxi drivers don't allow the yellow black.
If I
Correct.
if I may
Sure.
interject
Yeah, it's
in
okay.
this,
Yeah,
please
but
correct.
ours is point-to-point service, sir. We'll drop you, come back.
Correct.
Because their taxis are also there. So
Right.
they will do the business. They will speak to you. They will take you, sir.
Yes. What I would like to add on to what Sunil Babu has said, the yellow-black permit rules and the tourist taxi permit are different. They are carriage vehicles.
right.
It is from point to point, or they can share the cab and they can take it, which the tourist taxi cannot do. They have got a stand which is notified.
Right.
The tourist taxis are not supposed to have a stand
Right.
because, to my knowledge, and I stand to be corrected, this system was started way back not as a separate tourist taxi vehicle service,
Right.
but as a point of employment for those people who wanted to get employed.
You're
over
talking about the
here.
yellow black.
White.
The white guys.
tourist taxis.
Yes, yes.
And the option was there with the tourist taxis that if you would like to upgrade, please do upgrade.
Right, right.
But the permit rules were different. Now, somewhere down the line, this concept of employment generation went haywire. And today, if we look at the system, again, I can very well say that this is a fact at most of the places. Our rules are the best anywhere else. The enforcement and implementation of those particular rules is not okay, because I find it very funny that there is a system that has been put by an administration. I'm not saying government,
Right.
because the word government for me, it's like a comedy, because in Goa state, we have got the highest per capita politicians, and they don't allow you to work. Let me make it very straight, and I'm quite frank on this particular thing. There is interference at everything. Today, when you say that the vehicle when you are given has to be at your house and you have signed for it,
Right.
nobody has held you by your hand and taken you there and made you sign. You have accepted all the conditions, but every condition, there are 21 conditions now. Earlier there were 19 conditions, there are 21 conditions. The very first conditions has been violated to such an extent that today the administration has got the options to cancel their licenses,
Right. Right.
which is not being enforced. So if somebody has to learn a lesson, I know it is a very harsh thing, but you have signed for the law, you have broken it, now you sit at home for 6 months.
So what is the specific violation that they do?
The specific violation is very simple. They have signed saying that they see there is the first.
You're talking about the tourist
undertaking-
taxis.
The tourist taxis.
Yes.
Well, black and yellow taxis, there is
No
absolute,
problem.
they are perfect.
They
They
were
have got their
organized.
own systems and they are very. Now the issue here is about the tourist taxis, and the tourist taxis here. The first rule says that the option of selection of any type of transportation by a tourist is his, not the tourist taxis.
Right.
So today when somebody stops and says, and my colleagues here will all agree that we have all read about this in the 90s and beginning of 2000.
Right.
that in the south, the tourist taxis threatened the hotel industry, telling them that on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they must take tourist taxis, and the other days they can operate. It is just like the people in the south, the bakers would say, you have to eat bread on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and rest of the days you can eat chapati. See, if the rules have been already signed by me, for
These
a
are what
travel,
rules are you talking of?
the Motor Vehicle Act.
MV Act, okay. Yeah.
Every MV Act, Tourist Taxi
permit
Act,
conditions are given.
permit conditions are given,
Right.
and you have been given a taxi to follow those permit conditions. So the laws are very clear. The enforcement from the enforcement department, and I'm making a charge here of the RTO.
Right.
They are the licensing authority. They are the registering authority. Now, in this entire episode that happened over there,
Right.
you hear the tourist taxi, voice of the tourist taxi. We hear the voice of the travel agents. We hear the voice of the police, and we hear the voice of the Embassy of America. Has anybody heard anything about the RTO, which is the registering authority? No. They are, in Konkani, if I may use
Sure.
the word. In Konkani, we have got a beautiful heritage. For me, heritage is very close. And we have got sayings, oparis. Ben baru utkanran kashti suki. Means what? That you are the actual culprit, but you are there in the water, but your loincloth is very dry. This is the problem. We have got a very, very ineffective RTO. Let us be very frank on that. And the very
So what
people,
is the, according to you, what is the ineffectiveness?
ineffectiveness to enforce.
Right.
If the violation of the first clause itself has been done, and it has been shown by the media and put on record by the government and taken cognizance by the embassies, it was their duty to enforce
action.
that particular, take action,
action.
suspend those particular things, see who are the people who has got the right to hit a
Another
taxi driver.
person.
And secondly, the police, especially in that MPT case, it was very shocking for me that the police are making a statement that the tourist taxis were not taken in confidence.
Right.
Why should a travel agent take anybody
Inform
in
a union or
confidence?
anybody for
Why?
arguing.
Why? For what? He has a business to run. He makes the arrangements. He caters to his clients. He is not going to go telling all around the place. Now they have come up with that counter thing. If this counter system was there earlier, then the problem would
Well,
not
tell
happen.
me, just for the benefit of viewers,
Yes.
when you are getting a charter in or a
Yeah,
cruise in,
line, yeah.
obviously there are people who pre-book excursions on land.
Yes.
Okay. Now the issue is, where is the choice between taking a bus or a taxi company? I'm just trying to understand that, does the tourist decide whether he or she will go on a bus or would prefer to do a private taxi tour? I mean, is that choice given to them?
See, what happens is basically how cruise business starts into Goa is that one office from the head office goes abroad, either to Europe or to US, where the main cruise offices are,
Right.
gives them an itinerary of saying promote India, not just Goa, promote India. Why don't you include India into your itinerary of the Indian Ocean? Then we invite them here. We take them to all places like Delhi, Agra, which is the overland tours. Porbandar is the first port. Then comes Mumbai. Then comes Goa. Now New Mangalore, which has just started. Cochin, and sometimes they end up at Andamans. When they see all these things, we give them everything free of cost. Accommodation, taxi operators who operate it free for us.
Where
We do
is this
everything.
in other places?
No, for the agents when they come
Agents,
down.
yeah, okay.
Then they go back and they say, okay, India has the potential. And they put it in the itinerary. Now, when a person goes on cruise, when they're booking it, it's either paid for or they have a choice to choose.
Right.
So basically, say a cruise capacity of say 1,000 people, if the cruise capacity is 1,000, they normally take average at 75% would go on organized tours.
Right.
20% would stay on board or not decide to go. Based on that, 1 year prior or 6 months prior, they tell us you need to block this many coaches. Now we
So all this is pre-decided by over a year.
Over
right.
a year.
Right.
It's all planned.
Right.
There's nothing that happened last minute.
Right.
So as the days approach, you get the final trimming down of how many people will actually go. But you have to start. We have to start blocking coaches, guides, venues where they have lunch, or a hotel where they go for a beach tour, or plantation. Everything is organized. A boat trip for crocodiles, kayaking. We do various operations, even waterfalls. So all this is very planned and put in place. Now, the taxi drivers feel that we bring our buses, park, people get on the buses and they go. No, it's an organized, full organization. Now, when they say that 75% will go on the tour, you can also increase. because people see the potential of what about India is,
Right,
and they go.
right.
So there is also turnarounds.
Right.
So we basically organize these things well in advance,
Right.
but we don't do it at last minute. And they say, like we were told when we had the meeting for the first cruise that came in, oh, you don't bring that many buses, you just bring few. It doesn't work that way. If the ship asks us 30 buses, we can't turn around and say, oh, we have only 10 in Goa. The cruise will not call.
Right.
They'll
right.
go to Cochin, which is waiting to take over all of Goa's business.
Correct.
That's the way it works.
But sir, does they ask you for a taxi also in sometimes?
See, we've had this question where we've asked the taxi driver. They do ask.
Yes.
A lot of people do ask, is there option of tourist taxis? As you've seen over the years, the union is never organized. We've asked them for printed rates. They never give us.
The tourist taxis.
The tourist
Yeah,
taxis.
we are waiting
when
for the tourist
clients
taxi
go out.
person to
When the
come.
clients go
Right.
out, some of them do venture out. And the crew, you have, if it's 1,000 capacity, you have around 500 crew.
Right.
They go out.
Right.
They take taxi. They don't go on organized buses.
Right.
They don't go with the clients.
Right.
They don't have a rate. Now, if we take a rate, now the clients walk out to the gate. This is a very, it's a bad scene if you go see it. They walk to the gate, a client will approach them, they just get out the clients.
Right.
Around 10 taxi drivers will get out the client and says, oh, where you want to go? Say the client wants to go to Old Goa and Panjim. $100, one guy will scream. Somewhere down the line from behind, I'll do it for 80. Another will come and say, I'll do it for 60. Come on. Is it bargaining? I mean, you are yourself showing that you're unorganized.
Right.
So if you all had a fixed rate, which was promised by, I'm sorry to say that Mr. Amunkar, the MLA now, he said you will have a printed rate on the 16th of November when we had our first cruise line, that is Viking Mars.
Right. Right.
Till they don't have any rate in place.
So we had a meeting with him also.
Yes,
before that.
we did.
Yeah, just to ask a question, you mentioned that about them saying that it is $100, $80, $50. Are they authorized to accept dollars?
No.
That's another question.
It's against the law.
I'll get to, okay.
That's-
Little,
They convert it.
yeah. They can,
No.
we'll get into more specific questions on tourist taxis when the representative comes. But, it'll be more meaningful that time because we can get a direct response that time. But, Lyndon, a little bit of what Olan was saying, we can just dwell a little bit on how, first we spoke about the length of the impasse which has happened. Secondly, the point here is that if this solution is not reached at a specific point of time, and you travel the world and you know the ecosystem in India as well, how serious is the danger of tourists actually giving up Goa as a destination because we've not been able to solve the tax issue?
It's not a question of them going to give up as a destination. It's known in a lot of places that transport in Goa is not
It's not there.
Is not
Let's-
there.
Let's put it this way.
People know there's no proper public bus transport
Yes.
after 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yes.
The quality of public transport is unusable by international tourists.
Right.
You go anywhere in Europe, you wear a seat belt, even in a coach. I go to Mykonos in Greece. I go to Ibiza in Spain regularly. You have taxi issues there as well. You have no Ubers in Mykonos. You have no Ubers in Spain. But you have a system in place. Here you have, because we've always been inculcated in us divide and rule. Because we've had the divide and rule policy here. Look at our taxis. You have a problem between the yellow taxis and the tourist taxis. You have a problem with the tourist taxis between north and south. You have a problem between them from Kavelosin to Majorda. So when they see that from the top it's rotten, it's going to rot at the fish heads from the head.
Right.
And unless we have a system where the MLAs and the tax, we want to help everyone. We want the taxi drivers to do well. All of us are part of the ecosystem. If we are all happy, our tourists are going to be happy. But when you see that there's no when there's indecisiveness, it spreads all over and it's a jumble, it's a mess. I've been sitting for these meetings since 1992 when I was part of tourism, charter tourism, TTAG, so on and so forth. But you have one MLA saying something, you have another one saying, I think everyone knows that. And they've been all contradictory and because people don't have a proper leader to follow, they've been making their own rules and it's become a complete mess right now. And I don't blame the taxi drivers.
Okay, a quick one question before I come to Srila again. I just want to bring in the new Mopa airport into this discussion because that's so important to what we are discussing because we have an opportunity to showcase Goa. It was just inaugurated by the Prime Minister himself.
Yeah.
the thing that we did, the story that we did recently also, is that when the first plane lands, landing is confirmed, but there's no confirmation on who's going to take the passenger home or to his hotel. The thing is that with you had, and Mopa has been in the making for a decade or more. You had, when you had 10 years to work this system out, should we be waiting for the last 10 days to figure out who is going to be registered as, as taxis in Mopa, whether they are going to join the app or not, when will the app actually be ready or not? Does the government need to get into the business of taxis at all and do the app or not?
It's honestly a joke. And if you
So,
ask me,
if you could just touch on all these points.
if you ask me, it's a joke. And when Mopa starts, I don't know who's the MLA in Mopa, but he'll have his favorites. You'll have Mopa taxis. You will not have others allowed to come to that airport. It's going to be a jumble because we are making statements without any follow-up to please people for that one meeting or one day that we have a meeting with the drivers, and then it's forgotten. Right now, Mohan Gudino has been the savior for tourism and trying to help with this whole thing, but nothing is falling in place. And Mopa, if we start off on a bad note, it's going to be very bad publicity for Goa. For sure.
Shilva, as far as the Mopa airport is concerned, as a senior member of the Black and Yellow thing, what is the solution that you can provide, at least on behalf of your association? What can the Black and Yellow taxis do so that at least you save Goa's face and you are there to take charge?
See, sir, the government have already started, this airport already started, but
Yes.
they have not, whose taxi will come there. This is not decided.
So,
as
are you
after
saying
10
no
years.
conversation has happened with you all even once?
No. Nothing.
So, all these
Now,
years...
today only I saw some advertisement by Goa Tourism that they have asked for tourist taxis permit, RC book and all. GTDC.
From the tourist taxis?
Yeah,
Okay.
GTDC. They have to submit their application online or something.
Okay, fine.
I want today 21st yesterday, but before that also they have given the same thing. Then they withdraw that because you can't keep a taxi counter, tourist taxi counter at the airport.
You cannot?
No. Yeah, at Vasco Airport also tourist counter is not there.
Right.
All are yellow black. First I think there were 250 taxis yellow black,
Right.
and 150 taxis was tourist.
So correct me if I'm wrong. They are functioning doubly without a counter. And they're just on the roads and doing.
They're on the-
Yeah.
That is-
they are called hikers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Encouraging touting.
Right.
Absolutely.
Touting, yeah.
That is
Touting.
what is one of
So
the
what
permit conditions.
what you're saying is their presence in the double airport is completely unregulated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
There is a yellow black taxi counter there which is very well operating.
Right.
Very
Yes.
organized.
So what you are essentially saying is, as far as Mopa is concerned, just to make it clear to viewers, what you are essentially saying is that the only system which is working in Daboli currently, a regular system, that system has not even been thought of or envisaged, or no conversations have happened to have it in Mopa, in the absence of apps, in the absence of regulated tourist taxis. No conversation has happened with the Black and Yellow taxi organizations at any level.
No.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
right?
I think only one spoke, I think Honorable Transport Minister spoke with the United Taximen, that is at airport. He
Okay.
has not spoke to us.
United Taximen meaning?
There's a union there at
Okay.
Vasco Airport.
Of Black and Yellow.
Yellow black taxis.
Sorry, Black and Yellow.
So
yeah,
the
okay.
MLA is also from there and local people are also, they go to them.
Right.
But I think before starting the airport, the yellow black taxi counter should be at the airport.
So, but if the yellow black taxi counters at the airport, you're more than willing to, the taxis will be there, you all will be there ready to take
Yeah, there are
passengers.
people, sir.
Yes.
There are many land losers are there, sir.
Right.
How the Konkan Railway given the jobs for land losers?
That's
So
right.
they should give them. If you want a big car, you want a Toyota, you see,
Right.
Crista you want,
Right.
Artiga you want, they will buy.
Okay.
Because they will get a lifetime
So
business.
you are saying
there.
that even under the black and yellow and black ecosystem, you can have high-end cars as well.
Yeah.
There's no
Yes.
problem with
The
that.
only thing, color has to be black and
Black-
yellow.
yeah,
and you have
yeah.
to follow those permit conditions.
But
Permit
there is
condition
no-
has to be followed.
so-
So my first preference that first the Pernam fellows will be given first preference, and that is also land losers will be given first preference.
Correct. See, as long as there is a system there and there is no infighting. See, what has happened now, and we are eagerly waiting for Mr. Fateh to come. And so the question that we need to ask is the two things. One is that there has to be an organized system. We will now, in this part of the discussion, get into the whole issue of digital meters, a more organized system, and the app-based system. The point here is that if we have not even begun that whole process to get things organized, then this whole chaos will continue even as Mopa takes off. And the issue is that unlike any other airport, you're you're projecting it rightly as one of the best airports in the country. But if the experience of a tourist is is bad. Why tourists? There are so many locals. We will need to travel. We will go out. We will come in. We also need to get home. It's just that most Goan families will have a family car coming and picking them up. But my point is that, why do you need to do that? I mean, if you don't have a driver and you want to come in and even come home, that itself becomes a problem for anybody. So coming to just one quick round before we take a break. Now let us look at the tourist taxis. We have to get into that discussion sometime, even as we wait for Mr. Fatte. 2 or 3 issues that I'd like all of you all to touch upon. One is digital meters. The fight for these digital meters has been going on for such a long time. Several court cases have happened. TTAG also went to court. We got a very good order from the court which made it absolutely mandatory to install digital meters. We had this, stonewalling happening at every stage, even after the court order came. It went to an extent where, firstly, you had some manufacturer of those digital meters and the government saying that the manufacturer is not ready. We do not have the concerned digital meters. And when we found out, when we went back to the original manufacturer, he said, no, we don't have any such problem. So problems are being created by the system to stall the digital meters being implemented. Secondly, there was a whole argument over rates, because the taxi lobby said unless you fix the rates and put it down, the government, I think, also initiated a discussion. But even then, so many months and years passed, there could be no unanimity on the rates. Then the High Court even threatened contempt of court and made it mandatory for them to install the meters. I think, you just correct me if I'm wrong, but many of them have actually installed the meters.
Yes.
But it's like putting a fancy telephone without the telephone line there.
Absolutely.
So you put your meters, but it's not connected or it's not.
Yeah, so all the customer doesn't want to run on the meter. They said you tell the fare. Mostly.
Okay.
At our station, whatever, there is a board there.
Right.
They can see the rates and they are going.
Right.
But if you ask for a welcoming, we will say we put down the meter.
See,
the customer says no, you tell the fare.
See, my point is in your system, it is organized. It's a point to point.
Yeah.
There is a rate chart. People will pay. But when you don't have that, in the absence of that, I'm talking of the tourist guys. When random rates are charged, ultimately the digital meter was a checks and balances system to get this.
True.
So first let us talk about digital meters, then we'll come to apps. According to you, what has been the experience of this?
Like Sunil Baba has said, there are many times that this, our reputation has preceded the services that we are giving over here.
Right.
The people would rather fix a particular rate than trust that meter. Now, to my knowledge, and again I stand to be corrected here, the rates of per kilometer in Goa are the highest everywhere. Yeah. Now, today when you go to Bombay, I went recently, for almost 8.5 hours, I was charged 3,500 rupees. And I have got my friends coming from Bombay, traveling 600 meters, paying 3,500 rupees on airfare.
Yes.
And they have to pay 5,000 rupees from airport to Kalangut, which is just about 50 kilometers. Now, this is ridiculous. So, today what happens is, we have a meter, and my experience is that if there is a policeman standing in front, he will just put the meter down because he is supposed to gas per the meter, but he has already fixed the rate with the. So, this has become a mockery. Until and unless, some type of a rate is fixed by the registering authority. Today what is happening is that they are the people who are supposed to monitor. They are supposed to study everything and put it to the government, but it is not happening. It is happening the other way around. Here you have got all the other people, the elected representatives, the coterie that is there, who puts on this particular thing, and they are dancing to the tunes of whoever is suggesting to them. So when it comes to the meter, if there is a sincere use, the price is less, I would rather keep my vehicle at home and take this. But otherwise, it becomes, you please tell me how much you are going to charge, otherwise don't go and this thing. Secondly, where the tourist taxi is concerned, the rate is concerned, here we have a law. This is a law which says that you travel anywhere from the starting point, and wherever you have been dropped, from there to the place where you picked up the taxi, you have to pay him half return fare.
Same as Bombay.
Yeah.
Huh? Same as that.
No, but
what happens? But
Not
what?
for tourist taxis.
Not for that. But what happens is that the loophole in this is they say you have to pay half return charges. So if he takes him from point A, travels all over Goa, let us say, for example purpose, let's say Mopa they have taken, okay, they have not yet started. If I say Daboli, they are going to rise up over there. If they take up from Mopa, and then finally he is left in Mapsa, he has to go back to Mopa, so he will be paying only for 8 kilometers.
Right.
But if he has done 100 kilometers earlier, they take half return fare of that. So people are cheating on either ways. And when it comes to the, taking assistance from the police, well, it's a utopian solution that comes out from them.
The police are not there.
They are not there means they don't even know about this. So the trust of the people in fixing the fare is much more than believing that meter.
When tourists come in, when your guests come in, and they want to use the tourist taxis, because obviously you all don't have cars, you will only have to depend on tourist taxis. So what has been the experience? Because how do you manage? Because do the tourists pay for their trips, or is it all pre-booked and you all take care of?
See, when a charter comes,
I'm not talking of just point-to-point excursions. Suppose they want to kind of go for a party or go to a club, go for a meal.
They are on their own basically.
Yes.
So they have to take the services of the taxis.
Right.
Now again, they don't have a fixed rates. So
Correct.
they are.
No, how much has that impacted your business and the experience that you have?
Tourists today are finding Goa very expensive, especially when there is no.
Including foreign tourists.
Foreign tourists. Foreign tourists.
Yeah,
Big
okay.
time.
Okay.
It's like they know that there are no fixed rates. So they know going to a tourist taxi or outside even the hotel gates of anyway, north, south, whatever, they know that they can haggle a rate. So it is who wins. If the client falls for the clients for the taxi.
So what
drivers
happens when they
price,
say that where is your digital meter and I would like to go by meter?
it doesn't work.
What is the response they get?
They just say it will be very expensive for you, but we will give you a better rate.
Okay.
But if you go to see, that rate is higher than what the meter would charge.
Right.
Because they do not, like for instance, we had experiences where the client wanted to go from, say, in the South Goa, from Ramadas or Caravella it's called now, to St. Regis or to Holiday Inn,
Right.
They have a fare that takes you there and brings you back. He will not take a fare to drop you there. And
Right.
he'll fix it. It'll be
Right.
around 3,000 rupees.
Right.
You're
Right.
talking for 8 kilometers,
Right.
3,000 rupees.
Right.
Yes.
From Ramada to
Which is just 8 kilometers, from say Caravella to Holiday Inn.
which
in
is
Cavalosin.
which is next door.
Next door.
Right.
It's just 8 kilometers, right?
And how much do they charge?
3,000.
Okay. Okay.
If I may be wrong, but it will be above 3,000. And that is their rate. Now, the tourist taxis, nothing to do with the yellow black, all right? The tourist taxis have this perception in mind. If a client can stay in a 5-star, he can afford the 5-star rates. But you'll find the difference between a 2-star hotel and a 5-star hotel. Now, why should there be discrepancy in the rates? It should be a fixed rate, right? No. Their logic is what? He can stay in a 5-star, he can afford it. He doesn't have money in a 2-star, so he gets less rate.
But I have heard that reception at Caravella hotel or some hotel,
Yes.
they charge the customers.
Yeah, they
I
have a
heard that
concierge.
from
Right,
many taxi
right.
drivers. I heard that they are saying, hello, just come to the reception.
The
There's a guest
Right,
waiting,
right.
and they take the cash from you.
Some
and let
hotels
him-
do have a taxi counter
Yeah.
in the reception.
Yeah.
In the
Blackmail,
reception.
even blackmail into having
But
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
the
I'll
rates
get into this whole issue of taxi stands and forcibly taking passengers in my next round. I'm not taking a break, so I'm just going with the flow. Lyndon, tell me, the thing is, we are on the digital issue. Every country in this world will have some system of some meter system or some digital system.
Yes.
Okay. Now this digital thing, you all have been kind of fighting and speaking for a very, very long time. It's an old vintage issue. Now the thing is, even now, even after the court has stepped in, if it doesn't happen, then what are we left with?
That's a very good question. I think they should just allow a free for all. But if they allow a free for all and allow app-based taxis and everyone to come, the sad part is it gets violent. And you know, if it gets violent, there have been incidents in the past, and we are cutting the golden goose.
Right.
Our hotels have become much more expensive because of the influx of Indian domestic tourists and weddings.
Yes.
So international hotels, I've just come back yesterday from Thailand. If you look at the proportion of Europeans over there to Goa, we are minuscule.
Yeah.
We are just spoiling it at multiple levels because we don't follow a system. And if we don't start MOPA with a good, nice reputation of organized travel, and we have a mess like Dabolim again, it's just going to be a very, very bad image.
We will kill the destination.
Correct. So one sensitive question. Again, you may not be directly involved, but you have to address it to you and in this room. And currently, I can't ask this. See, what's happening here is that every time a tourist comes and he wants to leave a hotel and go for a meal or go to the beach or visit somewhere, we're literally in a situation where the tourist is actually scared to either ask his friend to pick him up and take him, or hire any taxi he wants from outside. Suppose he's in Kalangut, if he has a friend in Panjim, he's scared to hire the Panjim guy to come and pick him up. Also, we must understand there are so many foreign tourists, and all of you will bear me out. They have very, very close family associations with many taxi drivers. So my point is, somebody coming in, he will know, say, Sunil's family or some family, and and we'll say we will approach that family, and because they have literally grown up with them, they know their children, they know their and if they do that, and they are scared to do that, because the moment you hire a taxi from outside your the stand outside your hotel, there is a lot of hostility, and including violence. People have been taken off buses, cars have been stopped, and passengers have been pulled out. There has been actual violence that has happened. And recently I heard of a hotel in North Goa, where there was a wedding party from Bombay. They came in their own Innovas from Maharashtra. As soon as they reached the hotel, the local taxi stand, they warned the hotel owner and the wedding party that if any of these Innovas leave the basement parking where you parked for the wedding, we'll smash all the cars. So they had to come and park the Innovas there, but for the entire wedding, they had to actually were forced to take those cars while their own Innovas waiting. So again, you will say that this is not part of your domain, and you're not going to answer. But you are also a Goan who is seeing this closely. You cannot be removed completely from this whole situation. Okay. See, for instance, if there's an issue happening with a radio station or a television channel in, say, Bangalore, and if somebody asks me a question about what you feel about it, I cannot say that is their business. It is part of my universe.
But to my extent, sir, what happens here at Karmali, last time the Ultratech cement, they have I think 10 or something buses.
Yes.
We never told them not to take. You take.
Yeah.
After they came, they dropped, they went. We don't force the customer that you have to go by my taxi.
Right.
There are an airport also. We also go for pickup. If somebody calls me, I go to pick up there. Nobody asks you there.
Correct.
The many tourist taxis are also coming there. They just call there.
Right.
They are coming. They are taking the guests.
Right.
But what happens? The hotels in the north or south, they have got only business there only.
Right.
There is no business, no.
Right.
That's why they are doing so. I think so.
Okay, Lyndon, what's your response to this? Yeah, then we'll go this way.
Give me an example of, there have been so many incidents of drivers beating up tourists and videos going viral and everything, and taxi numbers being shown. How many of those people have lost their permits?
Not even
Exactly.
Not even one.
I was in Kerala in 1996 when charters was starting, and I used to live between Goa and Kerala. And the Kerala taxi drivers, and Kerala has serious unions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Many
solid
of them.
level,
Yes.
solid unions. They decided to stop all the tourist coaches, and I was there. I was heading Banyan Tours, which was the biggest operator at that time. The director of tourism, Mr. Ashish Kumar Singh, called us all for a meeting, which was Sita Travels. Spoke to Chief Secretary. He said, deal with anyone with a stern hand. A message went to the union. If any vehicle is stoned or stopped or any of these threats occur, we will take a serious note of it. And actually, there were 3 incidents. They arrested the 3 drivers. They withdrew their licenses. They won. And that was the end of taxi problems in Kerala. It's now 96 to 2022.
Right.
But here we've had so many incidents whose permit has been withdrawn.
Right.
No one.
Right.
You've just given an example about a wedding
hotel.
party,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We had the Marmagua problem over there. A clear-cut violation where the people were not allowed to choose their own transportation.
Right.
And it says, I don't recollect now, but as per the Motor Vehicle Act, this is a violation subsection, this. Why are those permit points made if they are not going to be implemented?
Followed by them.
It is just like putting a no parking sign.
Correct.
And a
And
car
allowing
is
cars to
parked
park.
and nobody is taking action on that. So why did you put that traffic sign?
Right. Okay. Coming back to you before we take a short break. Now the thing is, again, these kind of violent incidents, muscle flexing and so on and so forth is going on. Can we ask, where do they get this power from? And where do they get this whole audacity to break the law with impunity, with no fear of any backlash?
A good question is where, because I faced it when I was doing
Yes.
repping down in the south
Right.
at the Leelas.
Right.
And I was confronted by the taxi drivers, and because I used to go to meet my clients. And they said, "You're not allowed to come here." And I said, "Who told you?" "The local MLA." I said, "Get him here, I'll ask him." And they said, "No." So for me, each area tries to use their political powers. Whether the MLA does tell them or not, they think that, by they using these names, the organization or we travel people will get afraid. We've had a lot of issues with them and the police, where we've called in the police, we've had meetings with them. But till now, there is no solution come to it. I would like to ask, these taxis, white taxis, of course, nothing with the yellow black, they keep saying that we, the agents who bring the business to the state, eat into their business. If that is the case, from 2000 till 2022, now 12 years down the line, how many taxis have come on the road? If we are eating your business and you don't have business, how are you multiplying? You all should decrease, right? Because you all don't have the business.
Right.
You all are on the road, you all got no money, you don't got incomes. But yet you all are coming with cars. And each driver will own at least 3 to 4 cars. Not small, but high-end cars. Now, if he doesn't have business, how is he multiplying? His own business.
Right.
Forget the other people getting it.
Right. We are joined by Tulsidas Fatte, Secretary of the Association of Taxi Owners of Goa. Warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining this discussion. In fact, we had begun by laying out different issues and concerns of tourism, of the taxi owners, the yellow and black, and so on and so forth. We would see, the issue is, as we started this discussion, we are actually very happy that we are having a conversation and not a confrontation, because it's very important to understand both sides. The point that we made at the beginning of this discussion is that there is this feeling amongst tourists and others that the taxi owners, especially your group or your owners, which is a very big ecosystem, you all are supposed to be ambassadors of tourism. There is a feeling that there's a feeling amongst people. It is not a charge; it is a feeling which needs to be addressed. That you all are obstructing good tourism because of you. The rates that tourists are paying is far more. Also, the issue is because of your presence in outside hotels and other places where you should be. Nobody can stop you from doing business. You have a right to do business. But what is also happening is that you all are marking your territories in such a way that others cannot enter and do it. These are all different issues that are coming in. The other thing that people say is that all along this period, when there has been effort to regulate and put digital meters and others, it's not that you all have objected to it, but what has happened is, even after the court order, there has been some kind of a reluctance to implement it in a big way. Again, that is a feeling. Also, we see that when any effort has been made to have app-based taxis, you all have resisted very strongly. You may have very good reasons for it also, but the fact is that you all have objected to it. Today, in fact, we had there was a press conference where I think somebody from your association and others said that why should we have an app-based taxi? Because after 4 trips, we need to rest. If app-based taxis come, we'll be completely under the control of app-based taxi and we cannot do anything. So all this. My larger question to you is, see, much as we understand the problems, we also need to, not everybody needs to understand you all also, and understand why you are saying it, which is why we are having this debate. If you can just respond to a few of these things, particularly 2 things. One is on digital meters, and secondly on apps. Why are you all resisting it so much?
The way you said, I am really happy, because both the sides should be listened to the public.
Absolutely,
also.
correct.
And the such types of the conversation should made earlier. But
Right.
always what happened,
Right.
the Goa having a TTAG, he always blame taxi people. Many times even I met to the CM also. That time I said, you listen to our side also, and then you listen to TTAG.
Right.
Because TTAG is those who are having a travel agents. They don't have their own vehicles. They take the vehicles from us only. And when the customer says, huge, you are charging so much, then they figure out taxi people are charging more. This is the one part. Second part, you said, the taxi people are, means tourist motor vehicles are charging more from the tourists. But as per my knowledge, I am saying that we are not charging. As per the notification of government, what they had given rates, we are charging. Now, the TTAG had been filed a petition because of meter in 2005.
Yes, the
That
High
time,
Court,
yeah, that time they had not registered also. That time that TTAG is not there. That time it was a hoteler club. They had taken, this is the shortcut from the hoteler club to TTAG name. And he has made Michael, then Nikhil Desai, they had made this cook story to finish all the tourist taxi. Then we got, and this is all information through RTI.
Yeah, just one, I'll interrupt you. I mean, just
Yeah.
not interrupt, just to, one more point I wanted to ask. So, as far as digital meters is concerned, see, the digital meters is basically to have a meter so that there is a fixed rate. When the meter works, people will know how much they have to
Yeah.
charge, it becomes transparent.
Yes.
So, why are you all against the meters?
Yeah, I'll tell you. The tourist motor vehicle, all India tourist permit doesn't have a meters. Already we have a meter practice in yellow black. Also, we have in all Goa tourist motor vehicle. So now what they are saying, TTG are specially as forcing to the government through by High Court that you place the meters to the every motor vehicle.
That's a High Court order.
No,
High Court listen to
if-
both sides and give
yeah,
its
so
order.
that's why we file a petition. High Court is not bringing for the discussion. When Motor Vehicle Act is there, rule is there, then why they are forcing?
Okay.
In between, so in between, rule 1990 they had brought. On that behalf, they are forcing us to do this and that. Then cab aggregators, they want, they said they need a cab aggregator. We are not a metropolitan city over here. We have a very hardly 15 lakhs people. In that 15 lakhs, 60,000 people are coming out in the Goa city to work in every corner of the Goa. And these people, they hardly, so some people are there, they are forcing them to place their meter, this, that, to finish us.
Shouldn't we take into account that you're talking for 15 lakh population?
Yes.
Shouldn't we take into account that the floating population, the tourist population is also
Yeah, that
15
is
lakh
also, I'll
plus?
tell you. So,
So you-
one
the
second.
ecosystem- yeah, sure,
Yeah, one
sure,
second,
sure,
I'll tell you.
Sure.
Day by day, means day and in second day, like 4,000 or 5,000 they come in and go.
Okay.
But in that 4,000 and 5,000, it is not generated at one places. You can see the railway station, you can see the airport, you can see the bus stand. And they are not, means suppose we consider a Panjim city. It's around like 3 kilometer, 4 kilometer around. These people are going in a village like Arambol.
These people meaning who?
The tourists, those who are
okay,
commuters
yes,
coming
yes,
from the
yes,
out,
yes.
they're going the far away
Yes.
from one place to
Sure.
about 70 kilometer,
Sure.
80 kilometer.
Sure, sure.
And what they brought this concept of a meter, it's not possible. If
Okay.
you go to Kankona and if you didn't get from there to return, how it's possible?
Okay, so we are here to listen. What we are essentially saying is that if you have a digital meter, how is it going to affect you all?
Yeah, I'll tell you. The digital meter, when you say the meteorology having a statistic that you cannot change in interstate, like Bombay, Goa, the meter digitalized should not change. Because see, if you go in Mumbai, you will get for one digit, suppose 5 or 10 rupees. But here, the meteorology, they had said like 26, 46.
But, okay, I take your point. Just tell us how different is Goa from the rest of the country. My issue is there are so many states,
Yeah.
26, 27 states. Many of them are tourist states. Like Kerala is a tourist state. Jammu and
Yes.
Kashmir could be a tourist state. There are so many other tourist states. The thing is that if all the states are following a system, I'm not even looking at digital.
Yeah.
If all the states in this country, wherever a tourist lands, he has a choice of either booking a Ola Uber or taking any taxi. We can take a Miru cab or take any other cab, or get into a yellow and black cab, or get into a taxi. But wherever he goes, he knows that there is a meter. The meter tells him that how much he has to pay. I'm only trying to understand.
Yeah.
But I'm not charging. I'm trying to understand that how is Goa so different from any other place in the country?
See, now the way you have differences like means Ola cab, yellow black, white, tourist white. Here what happens, you know, the all hotels are in the village area.
Okay.
See, the tourists are coming, they are hitting to the village side.
Okay.
We have a yellow black taxis at like railway station.
Point to point.
Point to point.
Right.
In even in Panjim also you can see.
Right.
But at the time of commuters, those tourists are coming, they are staying in the hotels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But when that hotel set up in that particular village,
Yes.
the around people are depend on that only.
Okay.
So the people are not saying that we will bring the taxi from Panjim or somewhere. From there, the unemployed youth, those who are educated after education, they don't have a job because we don't have a major industry hub in the Goa.
Right.
So this is then one of okay, so we'll start with a taxi.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that if, okay, let us accept your point that
Yeah.
your local boys need business. Let's
Yeah.
accept that. Okay. Point is, but if the same local
Yeah.
person has a
Choice
has a-
of- choice
no,
of-
I'm not even going to choice. I'm going by your thing only. For the time being, I'm saying, forget the choice part. Let's forget choice.
Yeah.
Right now, your person in say Varka or Kavelosi, outside the hotel, he has his taxi. Don't you think that if he has a regular meter, the tourist will be more comfortable in hiring him because he knows, Baba, if I'm going from Kavelosi to say Margao or to Panjim and other places, and if I'm paying a fixed rate, I'll be more comfortable because I know exactly what I'm doing. Because on one day I shouldn't have to pay 5,000, on some other day I shouldn't have to pay 3,000, or on some other day I need to pay 1,000. If there is a regular thing, he knows exactly what the payment is, rather than he depending on what the taxi driver feels like charging on that particular day. This is the feedback we've got from tourists.
Yeah, okay, sir. Listen, now if you say the Varka and all, there is mostly all 5-star hotels.
Right.
They having their own counters.
Right.
Okay, they book by their counters like travel tax something, and from there they give them a taxi, I mean like a motor vehicle from outside. Those the village people
Sure.
are standing, means they are sitting there and like that.
Right.
So now those taximans doesn't know how much the travel tax had to charge. First
No,
of all,
here the travel
see,
tax is
the
not
meter.
involved.
Now you said
in
the
most-
meter
Let us say travel desk is
No.
not involved at all.
But in
No,
most
okay,
5-star hotel, travel desk are involved.
involved.
They
No.
charge.
They charge from
Now
there
afterwards
and
they
then
will
they
pay, this
they
guy.
call from the PA system and then they.
We'll get
give
the
like-
feedback from our
Yeah,
from
yeah.
tourism people who deal with hotels. No,
Yes,
but my
okay.
thing, suppose, okay, we are again getting into a hypothesis where we make it comfortable for you.
Yeah, okay.
We say, suppose the travel desk says, look, if you want to book a taxi, this is the number of the taxi stand. We'll give an intercom, you book them and fix that. If not fixed, you hire it and there's going to be a meter, you pay by meter.
Yeah.
Suppose they do that, then are you agreeable?
Yes, the one commuter I had
Yes.
met him, means like I crossed him.
Yes.
That time he said, I don't want meter because he was asked for the Innova. He asked me the question of the per meter how much? 46 rupees. Then he is calculated how many kilometer will come when I come back to the hotel. That taxi man, means like tourist vehicle driver said about 140, 135. Then he got it. He calculated so much. I don't want meter. You tell me in lump sum. So they having that a fix some ratio up
Okay,
down.
some tourists might do, but that cannot be the basis for not accepting meters at all. I mean, that's what you are saying.
Now, yeah, that's the
That's
choice.
okay.
One
Yes.
more thing.
Yeah.
Now, once the meter will start, this is technically the very serious issue now. Suppose one passenger has came and said, no, this meters digitalizes all, everything is wrong. I want to file a petition because I know experience about this. This is all cook story of Nikhil, Ambasta, many of them, because they want to finish this one. So still this is going on. Because
Okay.
no, sir, listen, because
No, I'm
why I'm
listening, I'm
saying
listening.
aggressively
Yeah.
when I'll talk this one, because they had not resolved these issues, because we have been party of that,
Okay.
the particular
I take
case.
your,
If I may ask a question.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
ask.
yeah.
What are the difference between tourist taxis operation and a yellow black taxi operation?
Yeah.
They are organized. They are totally, they go with the flow of the government rule.
Yes.
What deprives y'all of
Yeah,
privilege
what
then?
happened, at the time of Manohar Parrikar, when these tourist motor vehicles permits are issued, because actually it was in 1984, the mostly of them private and little like 2, 3 just operating like.
Yes.
So what he has his vision and thoughts that more volume of this white tourist taxi. So where they will keep? On the road or stand, because already yellow black having a stand.
Yes.
Right.
They have a notified stand with a particular TCP everywhere. The all marking should be there. It is should be there. And yeah. And what about the white taxi? So what he has done in the permit, he has written there. The all tourist taxi motor vehicle should keep at home and do the business.
Yes.
Now one
From your
side you
garage.
tell me, one side you tell me, if I keep my at home, how I'll operate?
On
I
call.
need an everywhere, somewhere I need an stand or somewhere I need an office. Now you tell me, we are the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Now they had issued a permit like stakeholders. How I'll do the business? Many of them are poor employed people. They doesn't have a parking place. They place somewhere 2-3 kilometers outside and they walk at the home inside. How is possible?
If I may be
So,
corrected.
this is specially made by Parikar.
No, in
Now
South
you
Goa.
can no,
in
you
South
can
Goa,
see
yeah.
the other states of permits. There is no, this is not a clause over there.
If I may be corrected, in
Yeah.
South Goa, the union, all the associations of South Goa, a few like from Varka and Kavalos and all, came out with an idea to have a stand in either Varka or in Kavalosin. All the cars would be parked there. Hotels would call them
Yeah.
and they would dispatch cars.
Dispatch the car.
What happened?
Yes. Now see the Benaulim. There is a jury is there. In front of jury there is an counter.
No, y'all are outside the hotel gate.
Yeah, outside the hotel.
You see, y'all are standing outside the hotel gate on your own free will. Correct? It's not a stand.
It's not a stand means like what happens, sir. See, now they approach always to the panchayat and all.
Exactly.
When the hotel is coming up, that time they promise to all everyone.
business
the
to the
So it is
villagers.
understood that has become a stand, but it's
is not legally a
formally
stand.
stand.
Yeah, it's not
It
legally.
is not
But-
legally
but-
stand.
But to my knowledge, there is one tourist taxi stand at Margaon, opposite
Right.
Go JTDC.
Yes.
If I can ask,
Yeah, sure,
I
sure.
think
sure.
Also
To
in the
Shirapur.
airport, there were 1984. They had placed 10 vehicles for the tourists, and Vasco, where opposite to the railway station.
The other side,
Yeah, there is a kiosks. 2 kiosks are there. Before it was some MMTC. Also. There also they had placed that marked a 10 vehicle.
Okay, I'll just ask one more question, then I'll leave it
Yeah.
open to the house, because
Yeah.
this is a conversation
Yes.
also. So each of you all can interact,
Yes,
ask
yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah.
It's more important that you all do it this way, based on what he's said. See, Pratibha, everything that you are saying, we are respectfully taking on board. We are understanding what you are trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. What we are unable to kind of understand or appreciate is there's so many issues of violence and muscle flexing that has happened, in the sense that we hear of stories of tourists being pulled out of their cars or buses, people getting beaten up. Recently, the issue that happened at Murmuga was also very, very, very unfortunate, where so many tourists were about to go for excursions and they could not.
Driver
And
was
they were the driver of the coach was allegedly beaten up. Goa got ultimately a bad name.
Yes.
So don't you agree, or even if you disagree, tell us why you disagree, is that what is happening is that these incidents, forget yellow black or your taxis or tourism or anybody else you mentioned, the point is ultimately these actions give Goa an
Goa is
extremely
a bad name. Yeah.
and ultimately tourism is a golden goose, then it is being killed.
Yes.
So my point is, now these violent acts have happened mainly from people who are running these kind
Business.
of running tourist taxis. So how do you account for this? And that itself is causing a lot of fear in people.
Yes, see, unfortunately, it was happened there. Even for my side, even I will say that it's apologized. The thing is there, the issue was that create how. That has to be understood the whole entire first, and then it should be criticized or something like that. As per my knowledge, I am from there also. The early morning, the first 2 ships are came. That time my vehicle had been, I got a trip, so I went. And when I came back, I heard by 2-3 men. Then I was interact with a traffic manager of MPA also, and also their staff. They asking, "Oh, this is." I said, "What happened?" No, it was beaten by so and so. I said, "It's not beaten. Might be they had conservation.
Yeah,
conversion.
because La
And it's
Passage had
why it's
actually
happened.
pre-intimate.
Why-
They have given a letter to the PI saying like on the 10th, saying that on the 14th these ships are going to come. There are 80 people
sir,
who will.
that third ship was not scheduled. In a midnight, it was scheduled. If it was a schedule, then why they had not allowed their 4 buses inside?
Whatever, I have a letter. Inwarded.
Sir, see,
inwarded-
letter can be. See, sir, letter can be. You can. I can also give a last 5-day letter today.
Okay, you can. So what you are essentially saying, that is why you wanted
Yeah.
your point of view. Your point of view is that the letter was, you are alleging that the letter was manufactured and inwarded after the incident happened. That's what you are saying, right?
I'm not saying like that, but you can push it inside. But if it was 4 days back or 2 days back, why they are not allowed these buses inside?
Okay.
Before
Why-
that, it was going inside. All the coaches was going inside.
Morning
for
when
that
when I
trip-
got a trip, that time 26 and 13 something 40 buses are there inside.
Okay.
So they were not allowed to enter in the bus.
See, okay, we'll get others to respond.
Till you
because
not
there are
get
other
a
stakeholders.
MPA, all the details, they will not allow you pass.
Okay.
Even that pass is cost about 500 rupees.
What I'll
or
essentially do is that
580.
there are stakeholders,
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
stakeholders. I'm
He
getting
knows
waiting
better, he
patiently.
knows better.
Okay. So my issue is if you can respond to what Fatima
Yes.
said and look into all these aspects, including Section 88 of the MVA
Yeah,
Act
yeah,
on the
yes.
issue of obstruction and others. Let's feel free to have a discussion on question.
This basically is a discussion only.
Yes, yes.
See,
You know,
we want things to come to
we want a
Yes.
solution.
Solution.
And we want-
See,
we want to
everywhere,
flourish.
sir,
We also want to
sir,
want that
we,
only.
we also
We
want
all have to come
everywhere
together and
solutions.
settle
Right.
it.
Now
Yeah.
see, listen, sir.
Despite
Now
the
I am
burning
fighting.
too much.
But
now
that
I'm
is not
fighting-
happening.
Yes, now I'm fighting from last 5 years.
Yes.
The one petition was in High Court.
Yes.
Even that petitions, again I have to file. Why, you know, sir? Already I have a 2 judgment of double bench. Still they are saying you are not allowed to make the trip from the airport. Now that day they had made a notifications that for the Mopa airport you start the registration of. When you are obstructing me, AG is filing a affidavit. You are not allowed to.
So I'll
make
come to the
trip.
MOPA after this round. I'll
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
discuss MOPA when we'll get opportunity to discuss, because I really need to discuss MOPA in depth, which we'll get. But quick
Yes,
response.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just for discussion purpose.
At any point of time, you want to get into move
Yes.
into Konkani of your field,
Fantastic,
because
fantastic.
you know let's be comfortable. Yeah.
See, basically, like what you said, when this tourist taxi act was put into place, it was basically to bring about the unemployment, cut it down, and give it to the local people,
Yes,
right?
yes, definitely. You're right.
But if you look at the practical scenario today, most of the people who are employed are basically people who have come and settled here only to drive these taxis, because each person is having about 10, 15, 20 taxis, right? So that whole issue about elevating unemployment or reducing unemployment has somewhere fizzled out. That is
Yes,
number one.
yeah.
Number two, what I wanted to ask you is that, like you have rightly pointed out, one of the permit conditions which is there is that you have to park in your homes, right? And it is impractical. You know it, we know it, everybody. knows it,
Everybody.
right? Fine. Now, there was a solution that when you know that you have to stay in your home, okay, and there is a possibility of getting all the people together at one place and giving the contact with different hotels, travel agents. Whenever you want, give them, and you have your own group, like, they have a. Now, has this type of a proposal ever been put to the government that please give us permission? We will be here instead of at home. And then, see, you are charging them from point wherever you are starting. Let them pay for it, whoever is taking your thing. That is number one. And the third part and the most important part, which I felt very hurt when I heard about this MPT, because for me, I like to promote the heritage of Goa. And the most important part of heritage of Goa is that we have always been known as very warm people, welcoming everybody. But when something like, the incident of the Basichi Vare Solde, which by itself, leaving the air of this, I don't know whether how many people know, leaving the air of any vehicle is a criminal offense. Okay? So, making them get down, then making these 60, 70, 80-year-old people walk in the hot sun and then going back. This type of incidents does, see, technically there may have been correctness or fairness or whatever between the taxi drivers, travel agent, whoever it may. but the message that has gone has really, brought the name of Goa down. So, how do you feel?
You're free to
See,
respond.
yeah.
How do
now,
you feel?
now you say like that. When these travel agents go in the ship, what they converse and they brief to the all the tourists. I have a video also there. Okay, they say that you don't get a taxi at out, all taxi mafia. Okay, you have to take the taxis, everything from us. Means like who was making the all organized travel transport like that. Now you tell me this is happened that day. 5 or 6 foreign ship came. Nobody sit in the taxi. Now I listen by taking a press. We organize everything. You tell me now from Panjim you are taking a vehicle to there. How is possible? How they can affordable that? You cannot take from there.
But Fateh, just a quick response to what you just said.
Yeah.
See, if a cruise tourist coming from America
Yeah.
is coming into Goa, he does not know Goa. If he has a choice between an organized tour where he's taken on a bus with others, made to show places and others, won't he be more comfortable in an organized setup? And most importantly,
With the guide.
with a guide, he ultimately will have as a tourist, as a paying tourist, shouldn't he have the right to decide which mode of transport he has to go to, depending on his needs? There may be a lot of tourists. You are right. Nobody can say to use the word taxi mafia and all that.
No, I have all
But the
recording.
point-
I have
but
all
the point here
recording.
is-
That is
but the point
absolutely
that is
wrong.
wrong.
I
But
agree.
what I'm saying is, if a particular tourist says, "Look, I'm tired of my people I'm traveling with. I just want my own me time and free time. I'd like a cab and go somewhere else, chill by the beach," or I mean, he's very much within his rights. He can hire a taxi and go. But you cannot deny the choice of somebody who wants to go on a conducted tour and do a sightseeing. I'm sure, and Olan can respond to this also. When you book charters or when you book cruises, the option is obviously there for people either to take a taxi or you
Yeah,
take a
in that I want to say that
Yes.
when the briefing of that travel agent, why they are briefing against us?
We are
Okay.
not.
See,
Wow.
why they are against us? Because I have recording here also.
No.
Even I can show here.
No,
See,
so-
all
so,
the
okay.
times. See,
Are you
now
saying-
that day also. See, listen, sir.
Sure,
you,
sure,
you
sure,
should
sure,
listen
sure.
me
Sure,
also.
sure,
That day
sure.
that happened.
Yes.
While the tourists are walking from inside to the where the buses were parked. While walking, the taxi in between taxi was there. One Indian lady was she was talking Hindi. She asked there, "Oh, taxi, how much you take to go to Panjim, Olga?" He said $50. Big car, you can say $70. If you in dollar, if you want to know the in Indian money, 3,500.
But shouldn't that be fixed? Shouldn't that rate be fixed?
Yeah, that is their fixed 3,500 or like that. So that time they are both of tourists like conversation. We paid $130 for one seat in the bus. We are getting taxi here for $50. Now see how this is happening.
Okay.
See his
Point.
choice. He wants buy
Okay.
a car or means like
Point. Good
taxi.
point. Olan, Lyndon, both of you please respond.
If I may say,
Yeah, both of
I've
you.
been handling cruises since 2000.
Yes.
All right. Many a times at the port when we come there, the union we meet, we tell them give us a printed rate that we can send to the agents. See, a lot of people do not know how far the taxi gate is because port is a sensitive area. At every day destinations, you go to Cochin and all, they're all outside. They're not close. So they don't know how far they have to walk. They're aged. So based on that, if we have the rates to send them, they would know what to choose. Till date, from 2000, if I may say, I've never got any rates from the union.
So you have a good experience. I have a with all pictures.
No, you can.
Last year, before COVID, last year there was a counter. Okay,
By
I have
GTDC.
all paper records, everything.
By GTDC.
And yeah, not GTDC.
Tourism.
GTDC is not GTDC. Government had given to the Vishan Naik,
Okay.
and he has well organized. He has made an
Again, our viewers will not know who he is, so if you can just explain.
yeah. Vishan Naik also got an counter over there in MPT. That time,
But why are we bringing this private individual into the
see,
picture?
then politics involved in this.
No, see, again, I have to see what our viewers understand or not understand. No?
Yeah.
So, when you are saying Vishal Naik, if you can just kindly explain who he is and
He's
what's
also
what's the relevance?
He's also a normal a person who's also he's also a taxi man.
Hmm.
He's also a businessman
Right,
from
okay.
long back.
Right.
He got a counter over there.
Right,
Okay, officially everything.
right,
Last 5 years back.
right.
The in between something political scenario has cooked.
Okay.
It was removed. He knows.
Right.
The counter was just wharf of the ship where the berth,
Okay.
opposite of the gangway.
Which now the government tourism is
And
going to
everything
implement.
rate had been placed to everyone.
Right, right.
And after 1 year, the second year, everything had messed,
Okay.
gone out. Then all TTG says, no, they all mafia. This,
No, it's not-
this is not the correct one. See, listen.
Your question
See,
after that, we've got 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes we'll devote to MOPA.
Okay,
We can
no
do
problem.
Yes,
one-
very
This is
important.
Very important.
Very
But your last,
Yeah.
but if you can quickly have some questions based on what he said, then 10 minutes we'll devote.
See,
devote
I
completely
have
to
been a
MOPA.
passenger on many cruise ships myself,
Yes.
and I'll be very unbiased over here. The tour operators do their best to sell their tours and fill their coaches. No one runs taxis down, but you always try and show how it is better to book a group tour. I don't think they run taxis down, but this has to be brought together in a discussion.
And this point should
Yes,
also be
this is
taken into
the
account.
way the way he has said. I also appreciate, but the thing is that
We all have to
when
sit together and resolve
yeah,
this.
Resolve that.
area. The one thing
Government
is
should
that
also
when the
interfere.
ship
Has
is
to,
coming
big
to the port area having also 2-3 lakhs, means 1-3
Right.
lakhs people are around there.
Right.
Unemployed youth also there. They had taken a taxi. They also will hope that I'll get I'll get a business. Why these tours and travels agents? Why they are not organized that some of taxi will also have this business from this?
Okay, point taken. We can respond during the course of this. Since the time is a constraint, I will have to introduce and discuss one very important subject at hand. Now, see the MOPA airport. Okay, and I will not go one by one. I'll just put the proposition in, and we request all of you all to intervene and make your points. One by one, any point of time. And I'll step back. I only want to hear. See, what happens is when we have a situation where the MOPA airport will be fully functional from the 5th when planes take off and land. We have a situation where there is no guarantee of any organized transportation system from MOPA on that particular day. There are no black and white taxis guaranteed. There are no tourist taxis guaranteed. There is no app base guaranteed, because even if you have an app, who's going to be part of the app?
And no coaches also.
And there are no coaches. If I download an app and I put an app, there will be no cars coming because no tourist taxi person has agreed to be a part of the app. They have flatly refused.
So you said is very correct. I'll tell you. When you bring a big project like, before bring this project, there is a manual.
Right,
There is a consultancy.
right.
They have to put in that manual. So now this airport is handling with suppose 10 million people.
Right.
So this transport has to be required. What the machinery of Goa Transport Department is doing? When you know this is the big project coming over here.
Right.
You know this airport, already we have an existing airport. We have a allocate services over there. Then why they had not functioning that all RTA and all? Only they are just taking money. They should function with these all things. The manual is rightly will say that when this project is coming over there, this facility should be implemented, and before that they have to make it there.
So
they have to bring that
are
on.
you saying that with 10 days to go before the first flight lands,
Nothing will
there
go
has
into-
been no discussion between either the tourism department or the transport department with your association, and you're the secretary of the All Goa
Yeah,
Association?
nothing. This
That's
is
all-
nothing.
No,
They
I
see,
overheard that they are going to have buses.
Right.
But which passengers want to sit in buses?
Yeah,
Exactly.
one
You can't
second,
have
one
a
second,
Kadamba
They
one
won't
second.
drop them at home.
Sir,
Even
sir,
if it
sir,
is
if I want
free,
to
we
go
don't
home,
want to sit
Karmali
in
house
buses.
is
Sir,
one
one
bus.
second. Even the Tamankar had yesterday briefed to the
Yes,
this one. He
yes.
said this all electric buses will take there. You know how much they are paying government to that contractor? 79 or something rupees. Why these all people of Goa, those who are having a taxi, why they are not allowing over there? Now those who are suffering, land losers, they have to take them in the confidence, talk them. Baba, तुम्ही घ्या taxi घ्या, तुम्ही हांगासून business start करूया. The ADT, Assistant Director Transport is there, RTA is there. They should bring this all in the paper, that advertisement, get the yellow black taxis
I mean,
and you stand
But
over
the
there.
per name people, I think they were given to the RTO or STA.
Yeah, what is
all
your view on
application,
this?
all
On this issue, what is your view?
No, that only saying all the per name people have given application to the RTA long before that we want to apply a taxi over there when the airport start. But till that, nothing has been happened this year.
Really, what's going to happen to the whole, forget the tourism business. There are people coming to Goa even for work. There are people flying in from Bombay, Delhi,
Yes.
Bangalore, everywhere. People, and we also have domestic tourists. So when they come down and when they see this chaotic system, but you know, you've been in the government ecosystem also deeply. And you know, in the last 7, 8 years or 10 years, whenever you've been there, has there been any talk of having that last mile connectivity? You can have highways, you can have bridges, you can have the
Yes, sir, definitely.
but where is your
We don't have the
connectivity?
all.
Yeah, you don't have to transport.
Yes.
But if I look back,
Yes.
I think this has been the first real last few years where the taxi problem has been discussed to bring it to a solution.
Right.
I'm personally in shock that MOPA is starting in 10 days and we have nothing on the plan.
Commuting
Correct,
service.
correct.
And then to hear that they were going to have some buses was the most ridiculous thing. Are you looking at bus quality tourists for Goa?
Right.
You know?
You see, my point is, even if not, my issue is that, you know, they can be very good international quality buses with proper space for
We don't
luggage
have
and all that.
We need seat belts.
Foreigners will also
Yeah,
do
but
that.
how
my
they
issue is
that
not
is
about
how
buses.
they
You
can
cannot
take to
have
the
these
hotel.
kind of buses.
How they will take to the
Yeah, yeah,
hotel?
yeah. No,
But we,
yeah,
our
yeah,
hotels
yeah.
are there. Even many of the hotel taxi also not reaching over there.
Correct.
If I may
They have
ask,
to
Yes.
get down at the
If I
out.
may ask,
Just to wrap up.
what stops you all from joining an app-based?
Yeah.
See,
uh,
the
uh,
app base
okay,
you
yeah,
said.
let's start. Yes,
See,
yes,
app base you said.
Yes.
Now we don't have an app-based policy. Nobody is cab aggregator is following. Even Ola, Uber,
Why?
nobody is following.
Why?
That
No,
you should know
no,
why.
no, point here is- no.
because they know they want to grab a floating
Pratima.
money. Now presently, if you set up, because my interaction with Mr. Fota Miles owner, the Parashar Khod, he has come at Miramar. He called us, our union. He said, "Why you are not joining?" I had spent 20 crore to set up this thing.
There
That
is a
time
cost to set up things, right?
He said,
Yeah.
but actual, I don't know how much he spent or something.
But we are really
No,
interested.
no,
in
no,
the-
no, see-
I'm giving you time. I'm
Yeah.
asking only.
Yeah.
My issue is, if you can just explain to us that what is your objection to app based? How do you feel that's going to affect
Yeah.
you detrimentally? In
Yeah.
the sense, why do you feel it's not good?
Yeah, why I objected?
Huh.
Mr. That Dabade has said, you got a trip from airport, you got a trip from railway station to Panjim, immediately you will get a trip from here to there. That time I questioned him, what is your binary, a circumference of existing those who are here, then how you saying that within an hour you will get a trip? The where business is generated in Panjim? I asked him this question. That time he said, you tell me the number of who was existing standing here. So how I'll get within a half hour? I'll get a next trip.
See, I've been to Mumbai. If you go to
Sir,
Mumbai,
there's a
you've
metropolitan
been
city.
around, right?
There is don't compare Mumbai to
When
there.
are we
So
go
what
to
you are essentially
change the
saying is that
system
when you
in
come
Goa.
from Mopa to Panjim, you may not get a booking from Panjim back to back to the
100%,
river.
sir.
So now,
And so that's your objection.
Yes.
Now that Goa Miles, they are coming from airport to see old Goa.
Right.
And they are just waiting there.
Right.
In second trip they get. They are sleeping under the bridge there.
But don't
with
you
the
also
taxi.
See,
don't you
the
also
thing
see the
is there,
possibility
right?
that
One more thing.
if there are app-based taxis, don't you think that if the app-based system is there, there'll be so many tourists, even locals, and other
Locals
people
will
wanting
use
to
it.
use
Yeah,
that?
Don't
see,
go for
I'll
tourists,
tell you.
locals.
I'll use an app.
Yeah, sir. The app-based cab aggregator is around municipal surround.
You're okay with that?
That only,
Okay.
not to go far from here to Kalangut, stand there. And all the taxis of app-based, they should not stop anywhere.
But
It
it's
should be-
happening. But there are apps all over
When
the
you
country.
stop means you are offline.
But there are cabs all
Why
over the
India is
country.
flourishing and not Goa?
Oh, though you were saying, but this is not a metropolitan city. See,
It
we
is a
have
state, it's not even a city.
Now, sir,
State.
we have a
Let's
occupancy.
get that clear.
Now you tell me, in Goa, we have a occupancy of 2 crore,
Hmm.
and we have a 15 lakh people. Which this about 1 crore and something? Who is using this
Now
occupancy?
look at a positive of local using your app.
Okay,
Sir,
so what
local,
you're-
nobody is
Sir, I'll-
using.
I'll-
Okay,
I'll clear my side.
just to sum it up,
Yeah,
what you are saying is that you are against apps and you are against
We are
digital
not
meters.
against the apps, sir,
Okay,
but
okay.
here it is not physical because no
So
metropolitan city.
you're
We don't
saying,
have a
you're
flourishing.
saying apps are not feasible,
Yes.
nor are digital meters feasible.
Digital meter is feasible only after when suppose somebody had complained.
Yeah.
Why Mumbai and here is a different? Kilo is the same from here and there.
Right.
Why here different?
So why
Okay.
Goa and Mumbai
Metro,
different for apps?
no. See, Because why here is happen? Because we have a less population. Goa people are not using taxi. Everybody is having scooter or something. Or those doesn't have a
Linton,
much good economy.
this point needs to be addressed. What he's saying this is an important point.
I'm listening to it because I agree with him to a point. If you take a taxi from Panjim to Kavilosim,
Correct. You will not get a
you will
passenger
not
back.
get a
Nobody will stop
and
you.
It's like Bombay to Kolhapur.
So, or
It's
Kandivali to Churchgate.
it's
Say
intercity.
Kandivali to Churchgate. Say.
Like only Panjim, only Mapsa, only Margao, there will be business.
Right.
But we are actually a state, and we keep forgetting we are not a
Right.
city. We are a
Correct,
state.
correct. Yes.
So he does have a point there. And
Right.
I think if you ask me, this was a great dialogue, but we need to have this dialogue on many fronts because
Right.
even when we talk of buses,
Right.
if the government is going to have buses, has the government seen the state of the roads in Kalangut and Anjuna?
You
and
can't
all
get
these
buses in there.
places?
Correct, correct.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely you cannot
we
take
cannot
inside.
get
Even
all
taxi,
these-
even
Okay.
car
And
you
I
cannot
think
take
Herald should
Sir,
inside.
regarding
bring all these people
points
on a
on-
dialogue
correct.
and come with a nice
Yes.
format to take everything together on a platform.
All and last words.
Sir, I'll clear my side, sir.
Please clear.
Why we don't want the app? We are
Of
a yellow
course,
black
very
taxi.
important, correct.
we are yellow black taxi, sir. And I
Correct.
can't go and stand at Kalangut because I have got a stand.
You are
notified
essentially
only.
you are point to point. So you are out of the app
Yeah,
ecosystem.
absolutely.
So
And
you
That's
are
why
second
I'm not
thing-
joining
second
the
thing,
app. Because
the
the
app
government
is-
is also forcing us to join the app.
Right.
Yeah,
Why we
second
don't-
thing,
unless and
why-
until the permit conditions are changed.
Okay.
Yeah, why we are saying because app-based taxi, somebody has joined to the app. Then they having an office, they having a bouncers,
Correct,
they ask
correct.
for the money, then they start
Okay,
to
we are
pay.
really running
this
out of
is
time.
the things going on.
Last words quickly, but before that, I
Yeah.
have just one question to ask you.
Yeah.
See, Fatema, everything we accept. Only thing is, will you seriously look into and think about this? That when there is violence on tourists, when tourists are getting roughed up, when people have this fear, that is something that you need to address. Because
Yes.
my issue is, if there is something weak on your side or wrong on your part, shouldn't you at least think about it? And you as a leader, shouldn't you at least say that this is not good and has to stop?
I will
Tourists
tell,
cannot be beaten.
Must.
by with your this thing, I will tell to everyone
Yes.
of Goan taxi,
Correct,
employment, the youth,
correct.
never they will do such thing in the futures. And so I will humbly request
Very good.
to everyone.
Yeah.
That's a good message.
Don't
from
do
you.
anything
Correct.
violence.
Yes.
So a
That's
bad
a
message
good
will go
message
to the
coming.
globally.
Yes.
Anything
Correct,
will
correct.
spoil
You
Goa's
can,
Yes.
please say it in
But-
Konkani.
but
Please say it
along-
in Konkani. Please say it in Konkani.
Konkani,
या
way.
या हांव सगळ्यांक सांगता
Yeah.
विथ दीस की आमचे सगळे जाण जे टॅक्सीकार भाव आसात तांकां की विथ दीस कन्वर्सेशन्स आय एम वायलन्स करपाचें ना आमकां आमचो टुरिजम फुडें व्हरपाक जावो आनी बरें जगाचेर बरो मॅसेज दिवपाक जावो आनी हें सांगतना सुद्दां हांव टूर्स एंड ट्रॅवल्स एजन्सीज आसा तांकांय हांव हें शिटकावणी दिवन सांगता की तेंच्यांनी आमच्या बद्दल टुरिस्टां कडेन वायट सांगप ना तेंच्यांनी सांगपाचें की आयदर यू कॅन चॉयस अ बस or either you can choose a taxi, but they should not say anything against us.
Okay, done. Sanjeev, just final
Yes.
words. We have to wrap up.
Yes,
And we'll-
there is not a single family on this planet which does not have differences among themselves. In Goa, we are one big family. One very appreciative, we have discussed so many things, but one very appreciative point that we should not forget in this particular discussion is both the association, that is the black and yellow,
And
as
the
well
tourist.
as the tourist taxi, what they have thought of and what they have said very physically is that the first preference at the Mopa airport should go to those people who have lost the land
correct.
and those particular. They did not demand that we
Correct.
also should,
Correct.
which I sincerely appreciate.
Okay, on this note, I normally kind of end up and speaking for a couple of minutes at the end of the debate. I will not do that because our discussion has been long and intensive with very positive points coming from everywhere. This was not a blame game discussion. This was basically to understand each other better. And the message given by the All Goa Taxi Association, the Tourist Taxi Association, has been extremely positive. Even Sunil Bab of the Black and Yellow has put some important points, and so have the tourism stakeholders. I just wish that the government, which was actually invited for this, would have also responded and been on board. But I think, again, as I said it earlier, we can only have conversations as the way forward and not confrontation. Thank you.